Let's discuss some ways to help clean up your drive. The first is you'll want to set up a system of folders. I've set up folders for to do, for my subject area, for things I use daily, for technology, procedures. You might consider one for administration, parent communication, professional development, a personal folder, one for each subject area, and one for classroom organization. Google Classroom by default will create a folder for each classroom you create. If you have one classroom, this isn't a problem. But if you have multiple classrooms, you might want to make one folder and put all of your classrooms into one folder. To move an item in your drive, you cannot move it from the quick access. You will have to find the item in the drive, right-click on the item, and click Move To. You can move several items by holding down the control button on the keyboard and clicking on several items within your drive. These will all highlight with blue and can be moved into one folder together. You can also search for an item in your drive. And I would suggest if you're on a cleanup of your Google Drive, searching for all your untitled items. Every time you create a Google Doc, a Google Form, a Google Slideshow, Google automatically saves it, but the name of it is untitled. So by searching for untitled, this will bring up all the ones you forgot to name. And you can quickly go through and retitle them and then move them to the correct folder by right-clicking and Move To. Or if you're here, you can pull down your My Drive folders and then move it to the correct spot. You can also do this for copy. For anything that you have made a copy of but forgot to change the name to what you would like to name it. I would suggest you also make an archived folder for things you're not using but might use it in the future. You can also take your entire Google Classroom and move it to the archive folder at the end of the year. I would suggest putting a date on that so in future years you know which Google Classroom came from which year. You can create subfolders within folders by going into the folder, clicking New Folder, or right-clicking and creating a new folder. What helps a lot with cleaning up your drive is by starting to use a consistent naming convention. This Nick has capitalized all of his folders, has put the year and month in front of the name, and has made very detailed items. For this Google Doc organization, a month from now, I'm probably not going to remember the name of this Google Doc. So I would probably name it Technology Tuesday's Tips, and then Drive Organization. The more specific you are, the easier you will be to organize. Then you can click on My Drive and then put it into the correct folder within your drive. If you don't have a folder ready, you can always click New Folder and then add a folder for that item. Be very selective of your subfolders. If you're too specific, that might be a folder just for that one item, and you want to group things that are similar together. One other thing you can do is you can add an item to multiple folders. So if I have an item here in the technology folder, and I want it to be in another folder as well, I hold down the Shift key and Z once I've selected the item. And then I can move it to another folder, but it will also stay here in the technology folder. It's only adding a shortcut to that item, so it can appear in multiple folders.